gotta ask yourself a question. It's a real simple question, especially as we go into potentially changing times here in the nation. What is your hard no worth? What's your hard no worth? And no. For you to say no, for you to disengage, for you to walk away, pardon the pun, from the things that are supposed to be the mainstream, so that your position, your voice, your ideas can be heard elsewhere. What does it mean to say no? And are you willing to have a hard no? And that no being definitive, being very singular, being saying, that's it, I'm done. See, like, what I think is hard for us is that we've been made to think that there's really only one way of living, that our smartphones, that our social media and all these things are where we're supposed to be, or it's like the normal thing, right? To have our face buried in our phones, changing our consciousness, making us more anxious and angry and sad and more divided and all that stuff. You realize, I don't know if you realize this, but I've said this before elsewhere, the people who are going to have the greatest voices out there are going to be the individuals who are not connected to via social media. They are. And I'm really having a real debate within myself right now about what that would mean for me specifically. What would that mean for me with the type of device that I use and the like? What am I willing to do as my hard no? And then if I do a hard no, am I going to stick with my no and then not waver on it? And so as you see like stuff happen last week, now this week, with social media and with these companies, I mean, this stuff that's coming out about Twitter and this freaking Jack guy, big guy's a jackhole. I mean, this, you just can't hide. There's people from Project Veritas, these individuals who are just uploading information and telling the real story about what's going on behind the scenes. And that's why Project Veritas is so important, because they're doing investigative journalism. They've done it against Republicans. They've done it against Democrats. They've done it against these people who have no scruples, who will get in front of the camera and say something to you, and then behind the camera, but when they think that they're off camera, they say something totally different. So the hard no means that you're rejecting these people, you're rejecting their ideas, you're rejecting their platforms, you're rejecting how they treat you, how they treat me. And when you do so, you don't change. You might find other alternatives, but you don't change. And I really would recommend that you watch the Steve Jobs documentary, what's really him, not the movie, but the Steve Jobs documentary, and what he was really trying to do with the smartphone, and how he was trying to change society. I think he did a very good job at it, but for the worse though. But just, I want you to watch that just so you can see what the real aim was, and it was to, inadvertently, to create more antisocial people. And I think that that's what's happened. So anyway, and I'll get off of that right now. So I just want you to think through what your hard no is, but I also want you to see that there's some people out there who will not accept you saying no, that they'll want you to say yes. And when they want you to say yes, they'll get angry with you for not being on their same train, not having their same guidelines to their lives. And when you do so, you're going to have your convictions. And this is what I said before a while ago, that you need to know what you stand for, or you won't be able to stand. And this is why people right now are having so many like moments of conviction, moments where they're really having this real awakening. And this is not a Democrat Republican thing. This is just a human thing, where people are seeing like what it means to have to see a degraded and degrading humanity that's not based on politics, that's based solely on how people are socialized with one another, how we deal with one another, and how we interact with one another. And are you willing to take steps that would change that? So I want you to think through that, what your no is and what really is happening to us, how we've been used, how we've been played on both sides, and how it's actually been a detriment to us. Take care.